the stars come out, break away from the crowd, chasing smoke signals. We both know when you get this close, watch us like a whoopee. Smoke signals in your eyes, whiskey trails of butterflies. You and me on the tailgate, feel that shot like a 12 gauge. Started with a flicker, feel the heat of the liquor. When the stars come out, break away from the crowd, chasing smoke signals. No telling where this wildfire goes, but girl, I gotta know. No telling where this wildfire goes. Yeah, started with the flicker for the heat of the liquor in the sun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the February 5th edition of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, normally joined with the old man. However, he is out due to some unforeseen circumstances. We will, I'm sure, get into that at a later point. However, we are joined this week. He is guest hosted with me before, and some people might call him the number one fan of the Hughes Sports Podcast, as he's the only one to have merch from the Hughes Sports. It is DJ. DJ, welcome to the show.
Let's go. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing me on.
No worries. Thanks for jumping in kind of last minute here, so I'm not just a madman yelling at myself for a half hour, 45 minutes. What do you want to talk about? We got some news. We got some NHL news. We got some Canucks news. We got a sprinkling of BC Lions news that I want to touch on as well.
Yeah, that is a good point. I'm not sure where we want to start.
Let's start with the sad news, but not the heavy news.
Okay.
The saddest news we probably could have gotten this month is that Rip the dog, named after Rick Rippon, of course, suddenly passed away this past week. It was the team dog, was with the team, I think, for a year and a bit now. And yeah, quite a shocking way to wake up. Was that yesterday morning? I reached out and I messaged you.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah, just unfortunate, but sad news.
Yeah, it is. It's sad. Those dogs are there for like support and being trained and everything. So, and just kind of the story of it all and who it was named for. It did make me go back and watch my It did make me go back and watch my favorite Rick Rippon fight of all time, which was something I haven't done in a while, and that is the Rick Rippon Brad May fight. But
what a fight!
That is quite the fight. Yeah, sad news there for sure.
I'm going to actually post that into the chat here if anyone does want to watch it, seeing as Deej just shared it with me. Yes, hello Deej, hello D, hello Dom, both in the chat.
Yeah, D's here, the number 2 fan, and then Dom's also here.
Dom's also here. Wow. We're getting all three of our top fans in on the show early today. Let's quickly touch on it because it's I mean, obviously the talk of the NHL world. We got through the All-Star game with as little talk about it as possible because, let's face it, Gary Bettman wouldn't have it. Kind of shut it down as quickly as possible. But we have the announcement today that there were 5 players charged with sexual assault. However, there were 6 charges of sexual assault, which is quite interesting. I've never actually seen anyone be charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, but here we are. 4 of those players are on NHL teams with NHL contracts. Alex Formenton, I think, is the name of the gentleman who plays in Sweden. He's formerly of the NHL. All being arraigned this morning, I believe is the right term. They have not entered a plea, but assuming that will happen shortly. What do you know of the story?
Yeah, so from my understanding, the one guy that is charged with 2 counts was like basically an additional count of kind of almost being the ringleader, for like lack of better term. I don't know a ton. I don't want to spread any misinformation and have it come back. So I kind of followed it, but not to the point until we kind of get more information. So obviously the situation is a terrible one. Terrible situation for them to have put themselves in because of just something that they did that was just, well, they have to know at that point that what they're doing is wrong. Like, and all the messages and stuff that have been revealed that have been put out are obviously like just shining an even worse light on them. So glad it's being dealt with, glad it's not being swept under the rug, but it's just like a awful storyline to have to watch, and for them to have to, and for the victim to have to endure, not the players. Like they did that to themselves.
Yeah. No, and the big thing here, the terminology that all of media and the police are using is victim is actually from the victim themselves. They don't want to use they did not want to use survivor, and I can't remember the other word that was brought forward, but it was of her response that she wants to be known as victim. She is also, there is a media ban on her name in full. So throughout all of these proceedings that we will be following here on the podcast, unfortunately, because it's news that is very relevant to the NHL. The trial should happen within 30 months.
Oh.
So 2.5 years is how long this could take. And that's considered by the Supreme Court of Canada fast. Or
Yeah, that's an accelerated one.
But that's without saying that the defense could ask for stays and delays and all of these other things that could be going on. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all 4 of the players in the NHL right now are on expiring contracts and are RFAs at the end of the season. Just the way it lines up.
That would make sense based on them all being on the same junior team.
They're
and
all on
entry-level
2018
contracts, and yeah,
they're all on the 2018 team, so they all were drafted, or like I believe these guys were all 19 when it took place.
Yeah,
These guys were not minors in any way, shape, or form. These were adults who did this. The NHL or Darren Dreger tweeted out today that the NHL has informed the teams that they will be getting cap relief from these players, despite this being kind of the first time precedent has been set with this. I want your thoughts on this, because I didn't know for sure you were coming on, and I had a rant ready to go on this. So I'm going to let you take the lead first, and then I might jump in at certain points.
I honestly, I just saw this like 20 minutes ago or like half an hour ago as I was getting ready to leave work. So I haven't had much time to digest it. And I think anytime I hear about another team getting cap relief as a Canucks fan, like hurts me, because the Luongo recapture penalty. And it's like, this is just all around shitty stuff to get into. We didn't get any cap relief when Jake Virtanen was going through his criminal charges for sexual assault as well. Like, and it just like, it pains me to see. I understand not wanting to, like, it's just like a shitty situation. And like the teams the teams for sure didn't know this when they signed these players to this contracts. I'm not going to say that 3 years ago that this was the most obvious thing.
They should have. Yeah. I got into this argument with Dom, who was listening to the show. They should have known. You have to do your due diligence on these players. You know how many interviews and how much background is done on these players when they're drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Does that just stop once they're drafted? It shouldn't. Because I don't think I can almost guarantee. I believe, and I could be wrong, that none of these players had signed contracts before this incident happened. If there were some that signed before this incident happened, before and then they signed, because this isn't their first contract. I believe this is their second contract, or is this their first?
No, 2018, they would have been done their 3-year entry level. So they're all.
So then they signed another contract after the first investigation wasn't brought forward, and not because they're like, oh, we don't think they're guilty. It was brought not forward because there wasn't substantial enough evidence.
Yeah. But like, they don't, I know. The thing that gets me the most, and this is a rumor, this is just what I saw on Twitter. I'm not going to like I'm not going to state that this is factual and 100%.
Yep.
But I heard a lot of rumors this past summer that Philly was shipping and trying to shop Carter Hart. And I've now heard rumors that Briere was like pretty sure that he wasn't going to that this was going to happen and that he was going to be out of the lineup. And that's why he was shopping him so aggressively. But other teams, if you're like, why are you trying to trade your like star goalie for like a 6th rounder? Like, I don't know what it was, but like, you kind of have to keep it like to a point where it still makes sense to trade him in case this doesn't go through. So I don't know. Like, if they have that much information, then you have to think about what some of the teams are doing as well.
Well, Danny Briere has some pretty good ties to Hockey Canada.
Yeah.
You think they? I mean, again, there's been an entire regime change at Hockey Canada. Thankfully, that's happened. But do you think there was someone went to him and said, "Hey, not a lot of people know about this, but there's rumors that people are going to start kicking up tires again."
Yeah, it's quite possible,
right? Like, it's unfortunate because the NHL had an opportunity here to make teams and players responsible for their actions, and it appears that there's been no official announcement from the NHL, so I'm holding my breath. I don't expect to be shocked by Gary Bettman in any way, shape, or form here, but they have had a perfect opportunity to make a difference, to do something and say, you do something bad, you have to pay the consequences, and the team will also have to pay those consequences.
Yeah.
Now, there are clauses in people's contracts, whether you're I have a clause in my contract that says if I bring ill harm towards the brand that I work for the company that I work for, I can get fired. That's being fired with cause. They can terminate these players' contracts with cause.
Totally.
So, Corey Perry, it happened to Corey Perry.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, his sexual encounter or sexual pass at an NBC, I mean, definitely not an NBC executive's wife.
Yeah, definitely not.
Definitely not that. And definitely not Connor Bedard's mom.
No.
But definitely someone related to maybe the NBC made a pass and made an embarrassment of the Chicago Blackhawks organization, which, let me tell you, is already a goddamn joke of an organization.
Yeah, that bar is already pretty low.
And his contract was voided without any issue.
Yeah.
And then you have this happen. And it's like, oh, well, we have to see what happens. What the fuck? What's the difference? Is it because these players are young?
I wish I knew. I wish I had that answer.
They banned a guy from playing in the NHL for 41 games for betting.
So that he could come back and put the Bet365 sticker on his helmet.
On the site that's on his helmets.
Yeah.
And yet, people who are being accused of sexual assaults are allowed to leave for take a leave of absence. That the organizations had no clue what that was for, and conveniently have a press conference the weekend after the All-Star game, and then these teams not be punished.
Yeah.
Absolutely batshit insane to me. Again, we talked about it before we jumped on the air here. The Canucks got punished for Mike Gillis playing within the realms of the CBA and stretching the rules to the extreme limits.
Mm-hmm.
And the Canucks had to pay for that for years after Luongo retired.
Yeah.
And all these teams are just getting cap relief? Go fuck yourself. This is Gary Bettman's league. I guarantee you the league knew about it. And still didn't void these contracts. fucking absurd. Absolutely absurd.
I feel like I could let you rant on this for like 20 minutes right now, and
I could.
You would
And the
have
thing
something.
is there's no oh well, justice will happen and these players are there's no guarantee of that.
Oh,
I was reading a statistic today because of everything is that there's a downturn in guilty convictions in sexual assault cases in the Ontario courts since 2019. I didn't get into literally headline reading, so I don't know all of the details behind that. But if these claims, which were brought up, dropped by the Crown, and then now reopened and brought forward now, seems to me like the Crown has a pretty good case. They cracked it open and said, yeah, we got a whole bunch of shit sandwiches in here. Let's take them to court.
yeah.
There's not a chance the Crown is going to do something this loud and obnoxious to not have a bulletproof case.
Totally.
So maybe there is justice on the end, but holy fuck, 30 months? This is going to be in the news for up to 30 months plus.
Yeah, that is actually the most ridiculous thing.
Like, and then the Hockey Canada has now just blanket banned everyone who was associated with the 2018 team from all double IHF play, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But let's say this takes the 30 months. That takes us past the Olympics.
Yeah.
You're now punishing players who, I mean, yeah, the NHL's agreed to 2 more Olympics, and I'll believe that when it actually happens. But you're literally taking the shittiest apple out of the bunch and saying this represents all these players.
I think it was one of those things that the Hockey Canada sort of implemented as like a quick Band-Aid to throw over top of the whole situation. And I think now my guess, this is just me flying out of left field here. My guess is now that these players, especially knowing that it could take 30 months, now that these players have been, boom, these are the bad apples, we know which players are okay, right? So I think before the Olympics, they're going to make an announcement that the other players have been cleared of any wrongdoing and are now eligible for Hockey Canada activities. Now, another thing that I just saw that I think is important part of this conversation, so that you're not harming players who are not involved in this situation, is that they also announced over the weekend the battle of, I don't remember what they called it. The Four Nations Cup. That is not a Hockey Canada event. It is an NHL/NHLPA event. So therefore, their players who are banned from Hockey Canada can play for Canada in that event because it is not related to Hockey Canada. So it gives them an extra year to kind of like delegate how to get around those players.
And I hope that as things come out, it does clear a lot of these players.
Yeah.
So that way they can, like, I mean, the article I was reading today, I think from the CBC, was saying that like all the lawyers will have their like all of the discovery given to them by tomorrow at the latest.
Right.
And it's both video, audio, and paper documents. So it's going to be a lot of shit to sift through, but I hope it clears up that it was these players, maybe 1 or 2 more, maybe this goes away a lot quicker than the 30 months. Like TSN had a lawyer on right before the announcement, the press conference from London, that said probably with how high of a profile case this is, they might try to push it through and get it done in a year, but there's no guarantee of that. So
sooner the better.
Yeah, the sooner the better. The less I can talk about this, the happier I'm going to be, because it's just a bunch of shitty shit.
Yeah.
But if you want to read about the shitty shit rather than hear me rant about it and talk about it in a way that's a little bit more precise, I'm going to take a little break here because I need to calm down. I'm going to throw some plugs in here. You can check it out on hughesports.ca. We post stuff there. I'm going to be posting an article probably tomorrow I'll have it finished up about all of the reactions online. If the NHL actually does come forward and say that there's going to be cap relief, as reported by Darren Dreger originally, what that looks like for all those teams, and then how is that going to affect the trade market? Because that could have a lot of effects. The nice thing, though, look at that little segue. Look at me, I'm becoming a real true host. With that, does that really matter to the Canucks? Because they went out and got Lindholm.
They did.
They did it Wednesday, the second week in a row, or second year in a row, that the week of All-Star break, when the Canucks were on their bye, they make a blockbuster trade. And let me tell you, that first trade is looking like a genius trade, despite how I personally originally thought of it when it first happened.
Yeah.
Trading Bo Horvat, don't get me wrong, I think this team would really benefit from having a Bo Horvat type player. So what did they do? They went and traded for a Bo Horvat type player and Elias Lindholm. Yesterday and today was practicing with Elias Pettersson and Mikheyev on the wing.
And PP1.
And PP1. Net front. And they put Lindholm net front, and you've got Miller at the bumper position.
Yeah.
Besser on his one-timer, Petey on his one-timer, and Hughes running PP1.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that power play, because that, to me, that's where Brock is going to shine. If Miller can turn into that bumper type player that Horvat was,
yeah,
that's going to take our power play that was already good and just boost it up. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. What are your initial thoughts on the trade?
So my initial thought, and for those that don't know, Jake and I do have there's a group chat. There's 3 of us in it. And anytime something like this drops, one of us is posting it within usually like 20 minutes of it dropping. Yep. And we're all responding to it right away. My initial thought is I feel like there was maybe one piece too many given up just to get Lindholm. And I've now heard rumors that there were talks about Tanev coming back in this trade, and then there was going to be more draft prospects like Atu Ratty and another like second or third rounder.
Yeah.
Which I would have been okay with. But going off just on what happened in this trade, I feel like Hunter, I don't know how to pronounce his last. Brustevich, yeah, he's having a career year.
Yeah.
In the OHL, which puts his trade value at the highest it could possibly be, besides him coming to the NHL and lighting it up.
I'd say for a third-round draft pick, leading the OHL in points, I believe.
Last I checked the day of the trade. I don't know if there were OHL games over the weekend. He was 3rd in points in the entire league, first for a defenseman, first in assists in the entire league, and then he didn't have a ton of goals, which is what you would expect from a PP run-in defenseman, right?
But let's not because he plays for the Knights, correct?
He does, yeah.
The Knights have a really, really, really good team. The Knights have a really, really, really good team. Like, should be totally. Memorial Cup contenders, if not the eventual champions.
If not favorites, yeah.
But of all of the scouts and all of the people that I have talked to or listened to and talked to, he's a step slow in the OHL, which means how much foot speed is he going to be able to gain moving up to the NHL or even the AHL game?
Yeah.
There's also significant defensive question marks on the kid, which is fine. If you're a PP1 offensive defenseman, that's great. Yeah. But we have a guy named Quinn Hughes who I don't think we plan on moving anytime soon. No, so at best you're going to be a PP2 guy.
Yeah.
Which means you still need to have a lot of defensive responsibilities.
Totally.
And Hronek fills that spot. A right shot offensive defenseman who has defensive upside, who can run PP2. So where does that put Brustevich?
Yeah. That was just my that was my first thought. When I
Yep.
saw the trade and I saw how many pieces, that was my okay, that's a lot. But then I thought about it, and I've grown more into like fully like in the trade. Um, I pulled some stats, and I have a question for you based on the Lindholm trade.
Yes.
So Lindholm, we talked about where he's supposed to slot into the lineup right now. Kuzmenko obviously was the biggest piece going back
Yep.
to the Flames in the trade. 39 goals last year. This year he has 8 goals. He has 13 assists. He has 21 points.
21
The
points.
Flames and the Canucks both have 33 games remaining, which is kind of works out perfectly.
Yep.
Kuzmenko is currently practicing on a line with Jonathan Huberdeau and Igor Sharangovich.
Yep.
Huberdeau has 6 goals, 20 assists this year for 26 points.
Yep.
And Sharangovich has 20 goals, 15 assists for 35 points. So none of them, well, Sharangovich is having a great season for what he was expected. He
Yep.
was brought back in the Tyler Toffoli trade. I'm not going to get too much into it. I don't need to go too deep into Flames talk. But 33 games remaining. Kuzmenko is apparently going to be playing on the top line in Calgary. How many goals do you think he scores in the remaining 33 games?
How many goals does he have right now? 8?
He has 8 goals through. Canucks have played 49 games. He was a healthy stretch, and I think around 10. So he's probably got
30.
8 goals in about 39, 40 games, give or take.
I say he finishes above 20. I say he finishes with 22.
Yeah. That was actually my number. My number was 20. I was going to, or 21. I was going to say he scores 12 goals.
Yeah.
Plus whatever assists he gets.
Yeah, I can 100% see 12 to 13 goals, 12 to 14 goals. Yeah. But it depends on what they do in Calgary.
Yeah.
Because if they're,
who knows who else gets traded?
Yeah, there's so many question marks on that team with UFAs if they're not going to sign. I mean, there's still rumblings that Markstrom is on the table for Calgary.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know that Kuzmenko, because I think, and maybe you disagree with this, but I feel like I almost speak for both of us. I think Kuzmenko is a really good hockey player. I think Kuzmenko is more of a like Ovechkin, where he's going to sit in his spot and he really wants you to pass the puck to him and he can snipe that puck. But he's not going to go behind the net to get the puck for you. He's not going to retrieve the puck.
But
and
the problem
that just didn't fit in the system.
I would say, and the problem is that with Ovechkin, he has earned the respect for that spot. When he was younger, when he was Kuzmenko's age, was throwing shoulders. He was going in and getting those pucks. He's now earned that spot, where Kuzmenko hasn't earned that spot yet. No. I think in a system that like Calgary has, and a setup man like Huberdeau, I think that could be a really good combination for them. Is it worth a $5.5 million cap hit? I don't think so.
No.
Unless they, and it could happen. I mean, we've seen crazier things. Unless the chemistry between Huberdeau and Kuzmenko bring both of them back to what they were. I mean, Huberdeau 2 years ago and Kuzmenko last year.
Yeah.
Then it's worth it. Then that 5.5 is worth it.
That year that Huberdeau popped off in Florida, he didn't have a ton of goals.
No, it was
the setup man on that line, right? Like,
and that's who he's always been. He's always been the assist.
That's fine. And and you need those guys for sure.
Yeah,
but that's just my thought on Kuzmenko and the Flames.
Now, shifting our focus back to Jim Rutherford, Trader Jim, the true Trader Jim,
the true Trader Jim,
and Patrick Alvine, who got a matching contract extension to match Jim Rutherford's contract extension. Are they done? Or are they making another move? And to coincide with that, what is the move that you would be making?
If I'm in that GM room right now, you can't change any more in the top 6. I think your top 6 is pretty. I just don't think you can do it with like the salary and like Like I just you have could you find someone better to play beside Miller or Besser than Pius Suter? Yeah. Mikheyev, I'd almost
Mikheyev,
want Hoglander up there.
I have no issues with Mikheyev.
Yeah.
I feel Mikheyev was, and it sounds bad because I really do like Kuzmenko. I think Mikheyev was really hindered by Kuzmenko's play style, where he was trying to make adjustments for Kuzmenko, and it doesn't work with his style of game. Plus, he's still coming off of a surgery where he used to skate at 100 miles an hour, and now he's skating at 70.
Yeah.
But continue.
Totally. I think like that top six is good enough that if I'm there, I'm looking for that guy who can play like bottom pair defense, or can hop into your top four for a game or two, because, and I mean, I know we both love Chris Tanev, and so does about 12 other playoff teams, which is why he hasn't been traded yet, because there's too many teams that are interested in him. But I think you're looking for that type of guy. You're looking for like a hard to play against, like just body on the line, will run through a brick wall for your team. Like, I think that's what you're looking for. And the problem is there are 10 other teams that are looking for that guy as well.
So my issue is when Susie comes back.
Yeah.
If he comes back before the end of the season, I don't think we have an issue on defense.
That's true.
That's my biggest thing is, if Susie's injury is truly 4 weeks, when they say 4 to 6, probably not a lot you can do. You can move someone down, and you've got about a 1.5 million. So if there's retention, you could get a bottom six player, a veteran who, hell, you could go out and get a Phil Kessel type player. You could go and get Phil Kessel. Someone who's been there, who's done that.
And it's not going to cost you anything.
And I'm not saying go out and get Phil Kessel. I don't know. I don't think he'd fit in that Penguins locker room. However, Jim Rutherford knows the type of player Phil Kessel is in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And you dangle that hot dog in front of him, that motherfucker's going to go get you that hot dog.
He will. Will.
But if Susie's
that needs
gone,
9 more points to get to 1,000. Somebody's got to sign him.
I hope someone signs him soon. I hope.
Yeah.
Even one of these teams that are getting cap relief from the bullshit, might take a shot at him, right?
Newest New Jersey Devil.
Let's
Phil the Thrill Kessel.
I love the guy.
Clip that for when he signs, and then I'm going to look like a ominent. Okay, and then clip this as well. Newest Philadelphia Flyers.
We'll just go through all the teams.
Go through all the teams. If he signs for one, I'm a genius.
But going through what I was just saying, if Susie is out closer to 6 weeks, I'll let you guys do the math, but wink, wink, that recovery time might take an extra week or two, and we can put him on LTIR.
Yeah.
Which gives us an extra $1 million. Now, that allows us to go get that 4th, 5th defenseman to not replace Susie, but I mean, Ian Cole's not a young fish anymore either.
No.
Neither is Myers. If you can bring someone in that can push these guys, but also in the playoffs give them a day off where you're not losing any skill. And I'm trying to think of a player that would be available, like other than Tanev. The Tanev is the only guy in my brain that I can think of.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to have I think Juleson's a solid NHL defenseman. I don't think he's championship quality defenseman yet.
No.
Or you can go out.
Could he come in and play in a game 4 of a series because Cole just can't get up that day? Like, twists his ankle, needs another day. Like, I trust Juleson enough to come in and play 12 minutes, 8 minutes in a game 4. Like,
hell, there are days where I trust him more than the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have seen less mistakes from Juleson at the degree that Myers and Zadorov make. But when Myers and Zadorov make those plays, they look like geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6 one, half dozen the other on that. So, and there's now rumors that Zadorov isn't a fit in the locker room.
Yes.
So there's so many moving pieces that I think that there's another big move to come. I don't know how big of a, like, when I say big move, like, to me, Tanev would be a blockbuster move. I think there's a big move coming.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, to me, it's like a Chris Higgins type player. A player that because we picked him up at the deadline, did we not? Or was he on the team for the entire year?
No. He was there the whole year, I'm pretty sure.
Was he there the whole year?
Yeah.
We picked up Lapierre.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I know we picked up Lapierre, but a player like that, a little shit disturber who's going to run through the boards. And the way Tocchet likes to coach, you need those types of players.
Totally.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Sorry, I just went in fact check. 2011, we did acquire Chris Higgins at the deadline.
That's what I thought so, but I wasn't 100%.
From the
so
Panthers.
Really, I mean, if you look at it, the Lindholm trade is equivalent to Chris Higgins. There's another trade coming.
Yeah.
But enough about that. Let's look ahead. We finally have Canucks games. It's gonna like it so long. Tomorrow.
It's been a long time.
Tomorrow. We have 4 games before the next show. That's insane to me. Because it feels like we've gone like 3 weeks without a game. We play the Hurricanes tomorrow. The Bruins on Thursday. Thursday is going to be a very fun day of hockey. The Red Wings on Saturday and the Caps on Sunday. This road trip is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because that Thursday game, we play the early game on Thursday. And then the Oilers play the late game against Vegas. And that's for them to break their own record.
Yeah, and tie the NHL record.
And God, do I want both of those teams just to go balls out. They're both of their first games after the All-Star break, after their bye.
Yeah.
And Vegas needs to hold on. Like, Vegas is scrapping and clawing to keep that third place.
Totally.
Or the second place right now. Either way.
Second place right now, but yeah. Scrapping and clawing.
I was going to say, the Oilers are fast approaching if they get 17 wins in a row.
Yeah, the Oilers are 5 points behind Vegas. They also have 5 games in hand.
That's insane. So, I mean, they're tied.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Yeah. You have 5 overtime losses, you're tied, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's... And to think earlier this season, and not like, like the first 2 weeks, in like the middle of December, the Oilers were a 300 win percent team. Like 360, I think, was their win percentage at the beginning of December.
They're currently 656 point percentage.
That means they've played. I mean, again, they've gone 100% the last 16 games. That's insane.
Yeah. They were 13, 15, and 1 before this run. They are now 29, 15, and 1.
That's insane. And you know what's crazier? Is they haven't really got the Canucks. They've gained 4 points in that run.
I know.
4 points.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you know what? Edmonton, you get the headlines, you get the glory, but holy fuck, these Canucks are fucking good. Sorry to Facebook. They're probably really mad at us for dropping two F-bombs right back to back. But holy, how do you have a team that's chasing you, go 16-0, and only gain 2 games on you in that time?
Yeah.
It's batshit crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Batshit crazy to me. Do you have any other comments? Because to me, Hurricanes, Bruins are going to be great games. The Red Wings could be one of those trap games for us because they play a style that's going to make us skate up and down the ice a whole bunch, and we don't like doing that. And then we play the Capitals, which
I mean, the Red Wings are a playoff team right now too. So
which is wild to think about.
Wild to think about. This road trip is 3 playoff teams and the Washington Capitals.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, if we come out of this with 5 points, I think that's a win.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm going to say what I want to say first, and that is that the Canucks are going to go 2-1-1 on this road trip. I think you're implementing Lindholm into the lineup. There's going to be a little bit of bumps, bruises. Let's be honest, the 6 players from the Canucks also just they got a break, but not as big of a break as a lot of other players. Not that it was strenuous, but
No,
that's a
it's
thing.
still a lot of media, a lot
yeah.
of where the other players could go. Hey, we went to Mexico
Yeah.
for a week,
And
rather
I
than 3
also,
days.
the old man isn't here,
He isn't.
and I would like to tell you what he would say for a moment. Canucks are going to go 4-0 this week. They are the best team. Super positive. Going to win every game.
For us to hit our 25-8-3 that he predicted.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have to do that. So you heard it here. The old man predicts. I was going to try to find a clip of him like saying something ridiculous for this week. So the old man predicts that we're going 4-0 this week, boys.
You did.
And girls, ladies and gentlemen.
It just came in.
It came in through the airwaves. The
airwaves, yeah.
All the way from he felt the need to go through you rather than me because I don't listen to him.
That's right. You wouldn't have said what he said. So.
No, 4-0. Get real. Like we would go like a crazy January and only lose like 3 games.
Yeah.
But a little bit of BC. Wow, easy
Wait,
for me to say.
Before we transition, can I ask you one more question?
You can always ask me questions.
Okay. Canucks, 71 points in 49 games.
Yep.
That is a 724 point percentage.
Yep.
You always ask the old man this. I got to ask it to you now. If they continue that for the remaining 33 games, that's 48 more points. It puts them at a season total 119.
Jesus. I'm going on.
Now, my question for you is, do they get that? And I'm going to preface this by saying last year, the best regular season team of all time, the Boston Bruins, had 135 points.
100. That's insane. 100.
That's insane. Points. Yeah.
I can't.
So I'll tell you this, though. Second last year in the entire NHL, Carolina with 113. Devils 112, Leafs had 111, Knights had 111.
See,
those are the top, next 5.
And that's where I want to put the Canucks at. Like, I'll be super happy if we get anything over 110 points.
Yeah.
110 points to me secures not just the Pacific, but also secures the West Division in my eyes. Behind the Winnipeg Jets. But if we finish the season with a 666 win percentage, what does that put us at? My brain is doing the math and it's not working. 82 times 0.666 is 54 wins, 54.6. So
that's 110 points. 109, 109.22.
Yeah, so I'll take that. I'm taking that 109.22, which I'm going to round up because you can't have 109.2. You're rounding up on that, so 110 points.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's from what we were to what we are. Jesus.
If you had told me before this season started that the Canucks were gonna get 100 points, I would be very happy with that and probably say, yeah, probably. I said before the season I had them at about 96, 97. So if we're talking, can they get to? I don't think they're going to go to 119. I don't think they keep that up. I think that's a lot.
But we keep saying that, Deej. We keep saying that.
I know
they can't keep it up. They can't keep it up. It's going to crash. It's going to It's going to eventually. Oh, okay. Now, President's Trophy. Are we actually talking President's Trophy potentially?
I know, but I agree with you. Mine is 110. Before I did the math, I just looked at where we were and I was thinking about it. I was like, I'd be happy with about 110. And then
it's funny because I literally did the 110 and then I was like, if you get third, like if you only lose a third of your games all year, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can transition now. I did the math and to get it out there.
You did the math, and then you had me do the math, and now it's just we're out of here. It's ridiculous. Remember when I said we probably wouldn't go a full hour?
Yeah, we're
probably going to go at least 50 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
BC Lions news, free agent news. Mathieu Betts, breakout defensive lineman this past year, tied or broke Canadian records for tackles. As per Farhan Lalji, he's probably not going to stay in BC. It has nothing to do with the fact that BC doesn't want him. It's the fact that BC has no cap space. And the number that they offered him, he did not like. From the reporting I was reading, it was less than 300K, and he wanted 300K because that would put him on pace with imports at the same level as him, which is fair. Yep. I don't see why a Canadian would take any less.
I agree.
When you were one of the top tacklers in the league last year, go make your money. There are rumors, literally copy and paste from Farhan Lalji. Ticats and Riders are kind of the two top teams other than BC who apparently are still involved in the discussion, but trying to make numbers work is always a issue. So it'll be very interesting to see, because I think the tampering period opened today or yesterday, one of the two. So soon to be free agents are now allowed to talk to other teams, but they're not allowed to sign until free agency actually opens, because we need to make things as convoluted as possible, and we'll get no coverage on this on TSN, so we're going to need to talk about it here. And it drives me nuts. TSN, you basically own the league commercially. You might as well talk about it. Yeah, we get it. The Super Bowl's this weekend. I don't care. I'm sorry. The Super Bowl, most boring game in the entire week. Every single week is more exciting than the Super Bowl, except for the halftime show. Except I don't even know who the halftime show is this year.
Usher.
Don't care.
And probably Biebs.
Of course, Biebs is going to be there. Taylor Swift will probably be there too. Will she perform? Who knows? Did you see the amount of math? Sorry, did you see the amount of math people were doing to see if Taylor Swift will make it to the Super Bowl or not?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
She will.
Apparently. I've seen it on TikTok about 150 times of people explaining it in different ways that no matter how you do the math, it'll work. I'm like, why are we talking about this then? It'll work. Drop it. Yeah. We get it.
It's funny you just told me that you don't care about the Super Bowl and that it's the most boring game, because I was just thinking about this. I was thinking about this as we were trying to get into the show. The first time I was on this show, this is my third time on the show.
Third time.
Number 3. The first time I was on this show was basically a year ago to the week, because it was like pretty early in, and it was the week of the Super Bowl. And I remember making our Super Bowl predictions.
Well, now we have to make our Super Bowl predictions.
So now we have to do it.
This might have to be this might be the yearly co-hosted show with DJ.
That's right. It might have to be.
We have the Superb Bowl, where the San Francisco 49ers are playing at Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas. I hate that it has an at in there. I get it. It just seems weird to me. It's like, whatever. I want the 49ers to win. I'm picking them solely to see the tears of all these Swifties who have no idea how football works when their icon's husband or boyfriend loses the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay, you know what that statement just reminded me of? The very first year when Vegas entered the league.
Yep.
And they started just going crazy.
Yep.
And everyone was like, let's go. Like, even I was like, okay. Like, it's cool to see, right? I know you weren't, but like there was a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people that bought into it.
They won the first round, and I'm like, okay. And then they won the second round, and I was like, no. Actually, they haven't done any of the pain. They can't just win now.
You can't
and that's
buy
how
a
I
team.
feel like
they did, but they did.
The Swifties.
They what? They had to wait 4 years. They had to wait 4 years.
Year.
Sorry, 6 years to win a cup. Blow me.
Yeah.
Blow me, Vegas. You bought a cup.
But that's how I feel like you're reacting to the Swifties. You're like, they don't get.
You need to understand the pain
for 4 months and win a Super Bowl.
You can't. I'm sorry. You need
That being said,
for
I'm
you to
taking the
claim.
Chiefs.
You're taking. Of course, you're taking the Chiefs. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to find like live odds. -2 for the 49ers. They're saying it's going to be a close game, which is shocking after you give them 2 weeks to prepare. I'm shocked that it's going to be a close game. There's probably going to be 2 points scored. They actually have a 47.5 total on it. So
DraftKings has them at the favorites at -125 right now.
interesting. I just don't think I don't think Purdy's a superstar quarterback,
Mr. Irrelevant.
but
I love that title, by the way. That's
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, the last pick of the draft.
Hey, you know who originally was Mr. Irrelevant?
The name is eluding me, but I've heard
Michael
it.
Furlins.
Oh,
Because in the last time the Canucks were in the playoffs, let's date ourselves here. The Canucks faced the Calgary Flames, and Kevin Bieksa was on the team, and they asked him like, "Oh, Furlan's kind of getting in your guys' face," and jokingly it was like, "Who? No, he's pretty irrelevant." And it was just one of those things. It was one of those offhanded Bieksa comments that just kind of stuck around in Canucks Twitter there for a little
nuts
bit.
lore. Did you see? Okay, speaking of Bieksa, just because I love this, did you see his like Instagram story or like tweet or something he sent out the other day?
No,
He was in Winnipeg, I guess, for whatever reason,
because he's
and and he took a tweet like of the Earls parking lot, and he just said memories.
I want to know what these memories are now.
No, do you not know?
No,
You know the story. You just don't realize where it happened. You know what? When Bieksa got called up, right? You've heard the story of him being called up to the NHL,
Yeah.
and how he punched out the dude in the parking lot.
Was it an Earls?
It was at Earl's parking lot in Winnipeg.
Well, yeah, I knew he was in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
That's great.
it was at the Earls,
that.
which is why he tweeted it was like memories. I didn't know it was Earls, but like that's the only thing that made sense.
That's great. I'm sure you're aware we have a campaign to get him on the show. So now we need more details, Mr. Bieksa. We
don't know the story at all. Never.
We need the full story. You need to explain it to us. We'll take 15 minutes of your time.
I'm the guest host that week for sure.
I was gonna say we'll ask 2 questions and let you talk because notoriously you can talk.
Yeah.
But I figured we had to get that plug in while the old man was gone. We're just gonna keep pushing it until Bieksa actually shows up on the show. And we're not going to announce it either. I think that's the biggest thing we could do as a show. The biggest thing we could do as a show is get a guest as big as Kevin Bieksa and just not announce it and just have him on like a regular guest.
Regular show.
Yeah. I think that's what I want to do. The old man will be like, I want to spend thousands of dollars promoting it. And I'll be like, we don't have that money yet, sir. We can't.
We don't have thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Is Kevin Bieksa paying us thousands of dollars to promote it? I don't think so. But yeah, that is the show for this week. Normally I have something to plug for the old man. Deej, do you have anything to plug? The floor is yours if you want to plug anything.
Yeah. So make sure every week, every Monday, 6 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Mountain Central Time, that you listen to the Hughes Sports Podcast on youtube.com/Hughes Sports Podcast. And if you miss it, go to your favorite streaming service, download it, and check it out during the week.
Also, what you can do is if you're watching this on YouTube right now, hit that little like button. Leave a comment where you came from, where you're watching from. Put in like a random word that I'll be like, I know where this guy came from. If you don't want to put where you're from because it's the internet and people are weird out there, so I get it. Just put like Pajama Sam or something. Ooh, I haven't thought of Pajama Sam in a long time. However, hit the subscribe button as well. If you're listening on anywhere else, leave us a review. 5 stars if you can. 3 if you're being honest with us. Tell us
2.5 because I was on the show this week.
No, it goes the other way. It's like 3.5. You get an extra half star just for showing up.
Yes.
It's the hoodie brings the whole ensemble together. I know if you're listening on audio, you can't see it, and that's why we always tell you, come check us out on YouTube. You're missing half the show if you are not. But until next week, you beautiful people, have yourselves a wonderful night. Mwah, and goodbye.